I'm going to do something we've never done in 18 years of Guess the Lines.
What's that?
Start talking about another sport to start the podcast. We got to go backwards.
Not basketball, though. Not NBA.
No,
please.
baseball.
Oh,
I
good.
want to talk
Okay.
baseball.
Right.
I want to talk about last night.
Yeah.
Dodgers going back to back. One of the great baseball games, I think, of my lifetime and yours, right? That's on the... I don't know what the greatest is. I don't know. I almost feel like it's actors. Like, you could say Meryl Streep's the greatest actress ever, but if you say greatest actor, you could probably list 6 or 7. We've had some great baseball games in the World Series in our day, right? Jack Morris, that World Series. 07, Cleveland, Florida was awesome. The Arizona Yankees game was awesome. That 2016 Cubs game. There's been some good ones. This one had everything, though. And I think when you combine the other 3 losses, or the other 2 losses that Toronto had, I think this was a uniquely awful experience for Blue Jays fans. I can't come up with another loss like this, right? For the culmination starting with the 18-inning game to now. So I want to start with the loss and then go to the win. But if that had been the Mets, where would you be able to do the podcast tonight? This episode of the Bill Simmons podcast is presented by State Farm. Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like needing the protection of an offensive guard on the football field, but getting an elementary school crossing guard. I had that last year with the Patriots. This year, I have actual protection. Sure, they're both guards, but you can only trust one to keep your quarterback safe when the game is on the line. So don't settle for just any insurance. When you can have State Farm, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
No, I don't think so. Even a day removed. Yeah, it's as bad as it gets. And there was already the stink of Game 7 Toronto, right, for the city, and the hockey team can never get past Game 7. And it's one of those series where you think, wow, should they have just lost to Seattle in 6? Like, would that have been better?
Would that have been better for them emotionally?
Showing up, and then up 3-2, and then up 3-0 in Game 7, which your Red Sox were up 3-0 to my Mets. You weren't home at the time, but it was really eerily reminiscent. I kept thinking of you. But so you thought Game 7 was better than the one you went through, the 18-inning game? Or it's just the best Game 7 you've ever seen?
I think I'm talking Game 7s.
Yeah.
With the drama of bringing in the baggage from the 18-inning game, from Game 6, when it seemed like they had it. They're bringing in Glass now, basically. They third and second, it just seems like something good's going to happen for them. And all of a sudden, the game's over. Guy gets doubled off second. Yeah. Announcers gloss over it. I'm still trying to figure out why he drifted over that far on a ball that Kike caught like this.
Right.
But then going up 3-0, having it in the ninth, having Hoffman as this giant wart on your body that you're just hoping nobody picks. Oh, I had him in the AL keeper. I was just waiting for him to do that.
Right.
And then who hits the homer to tie it? And then what happened? How the game ended? How the instant replay? Has there ever been a closer instant replay where the team didn't get it?
A single cleat. And that's, look, with these 7-game series, and you'll run into the same thing with a great basketball series, but when there's a series, unlike the Super Bowl, and like Atlanta fans will be like 28-3, I could point to 16 things that happened.
Yeah.
But when you have like a 9 or 10 day series and you lose so close, like you could point to 100 things. Like Blue Jays fans, I can't even imagine what they're going through. In that 18-inning game, there were 6 base running errors that everybody made. And then as you talk about the cleat and the double play, and it just, was he leading off third too much? And now all these Major League Baseballs are coming to kind of Alefa's defense. Like, I don't even know how I'd be able to handle this as a Mets fan. It's as bad as a loss as you'll find.
Yeah, I remember when I wrote about the Game 6 of the 86 World Series, one of the great moments of your life.
Oh, yeah, let's hear about this, yeah.
All the different moments where the Red Sox could have finished the game off, right? And the reverse of that was when the Patriots came back against the Falcons 28-3. And I think it was like 15 plays where if any play had gone differently Atlanta's way, they win. Like most famously, the Julio Jones, when they had the catch, but then they somehow go backwards and have to punt instead of kicking a field goal. But there's a million of those. And I think those are the worst ones as sports fans. Those are the ones that still haunt me. Like the Celtics in Game 4 of the 87 finals, being up 6 with 2 minutes left. And I can still remember the entire sequence where we lost the lead, where it's just like that play. And you just think about it. In a way, it's way worse than it is better to win. you're more haunted by the loss than you are
no question.
the celebration of the win.
You're just relieved. I mean? You're just relieved when you win. And then, on top of all of that stuff, all the plays that came down to a quarter of an inch or this or that or this weird decision, they're up against like this Halloween zombie in Yamamoto who pitched game 2, game 6, and they're like, all right, we've had enough of him. Game 7, and like raises his hand to volunteer for games before that too. Like, what the hell is going on here? How do you have such an intense force on the other side? And how do you keep combating that? And they just couldn't, I guess.
That's never happened, right? Like what was Baumgartner, the situation with him at the Giants? It wasn't like the next day him pitching 40 pitches, was it? I don't remember that. This was like, I just thought when somebody started a game and threw 90 plus pitches, we did not get to see that person the next day. That person's just screwed. And Fox was never showing the available pitchers, which I don't understand how that's not a graphic. We got to see the Joe Carter homer 397 times in the graphic and game-winning homers and all this stuff. And they were so concerned with the history of everything and not just telling us like, here's who's left for the Dodgers. Kershaw, Kershaw got up in extra innings. It was like, oh my God, can you imagine?
Yeah.
Can you imagine if he has to come in and pitch during this? But I felt so bad for the Blue Jays.
For Kershaw, if Lukes doesn't swing at ball 4, Toronto wins that 18-inning game that you were at. By the way, congratulations for sticking it through. You're one of the great Dodger fans out there, I think. I'd have to say at this point.
It was great to be there with the other Dodger fans. Well, I was thinking the difference with this Blue Jays loss is the 3 together. I don't remember that in a 7-game series for a baseball team before. 3 horrible losses.
Oh, yeah.
The 18-inning game alone is like the worst loss you're going to have in like 5 years,
losses.
right?
Yeah, right.
And then the blowing game 6, when everybody goes there, everybody thinks they have it in the bag. And then it seems that multiple points during that game, they're going to win that one. And then game 7, when they went up 3-0, I remember that Cardinals, the World Series like in 85 when Andujar flipped out and the Royals just killed them like 11. I really started to wonder, like, is this going to be like a blowout or the Blue Jays just going to kill them? Like the Dodgers, it felt like the Blue Jays were a slightly better team and the Dodgers were just they were hanging on, doing it all in DNA, and then eventually was going to run out. And then the longer the game went,
every 2 innings, they'd get a run and they'd come back there. And for like to get beaten, it's one thing to like, they must have been like, what the fuck is going on here? Yamamoto is a robot. And then you got this guy who hasn't had a hit in a month. It's a home run against us to go ahead, right? And then the back-to-back plays with the cleat on the plate, and then the
how about the collision to end an inning?
Hernandez, and like that was insane. That ball didn't drop. That ball drops 90 times out of 100.
Yeah, I don't know what the rankings are for me, but it's hard to think of a more dramatic game 7 that just had like crazy plays. Like the collision play alone would have been enough to carry the craziness for the game, because it's conceivable that ball could have dropped and they win the World Series that way.
Yeah,
and I'm positive that's never happened before.
No, not like that.
No, that's never happened before.
And then you think about it, like the Dodgers hit 204 in this series, and they hit 203 last year against the Yankees, and they won both, and they won last year convincingly. And it's like, but there was still a million great plays to talk about, even though they couldn't put the bat on the ball for 80% of the time.
This episode is brought to you by Michelob Ultra, the official beer partner of the NBA. So the NBA season is starting. I'm excited about a bunch of different things. We have a lot of teams up in the air. Boston, Milwaukee, Indiana. What are we getting from these teams? The Lakers, can they hang on and still be a top 6 team? I think I'm most excited for the Texas teams. I want to see Durant in Houston, Cooper Flag in Dallas, and Wemby and Dylan Harper in San Antonio. I feel like I'm going to be spending a lot of time in the state of Texas with my basketball choices. There are a lot of moments worth playing for. The ones that taste best are served cold, unlike in Texas where it's usually hot. Whatever happens this season, catch every moment with Michelob Ultra, the official beer partner of the NBA, getting fans closer to the game with a chance to win courtside seats. You heard me correctly. A trip to All-Star Weekend, custom merch, and much more. Michelob Ultra, superior, is worth playing for. Enter now at michelobultra.com/courtside. Michelob Ultra Courtside 2025 to 2026. No purchase necessary. Open to U.S. residents 21 plus. Begins on October 1st, 2025, ends on June 30th, 2026. Multiple entry periods. See official rules at michelobultra.com/courtside for free entry deadlines, prizes, and details. Yeah, that was the cool thing about game 3, at least until when in extra innings, was there were so many good defensive plays and base running plays. And, it's just this higher level of the sport. And you start comparing your own team to it. Like I was texting on my Red Sox thread, I was like, doesn't this make us feel like we're a million miles away from this Dodgers team? Like they have 4 starting pitchers that we don't have. We have no chance. We have no chance in a series like this. Yeah. And, some people were talking about how the Dodgers, they bought this blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, Vlad did sign a $500 million contract. Yeah. They're not exactly going against Hickory High here. Toronto, Toronto is spending money too, and they're doing trade deadline stuff. The Dodgers piece of this, though, back-to-back really matters to me just as a sports fan and somebody who cares about this shit. I remember all the back-to-back teams, like the Yankees doing it in 77 and 78, and the Reds doing it right before them. And then the Blue Jays did it. And we're all kind of pissed off because that was right when baseball was starting to change. We're like, these motherfuckers, they kind of bought this a little bit. They had these hired guns. They didn't grow these players themselves. These weren't the homegrown stars. Yeah. And then the Yankees, obviously. But to do 2 in a row, I just feel like the stakes are down. You must feel that way about the Cowboys. I know I feel that way about the Pats. Like, to win 2 in a row, that second one's so much harder. You won more than 2 in a row.
Back in the day. I thought you meant looking forward. Yeah. It was
great. Back-to-back is just like, you're planting your flag on a different planet, right? And I think they sensed that and they understood it. And now they belong to this. Anyone can win one title, but you belong to a different kind of stratosphere, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And it's like, and you feel good for these Dodgers fans, and there's going to be a parade, and there's like fireworks all over the place. It's like, yeah, this is pretty great. And then our producer, Jack, is like, hey, my 7-year-old has seen 3 championships since he was. I'm like, I'll get the hell out of here. I don't want to hear from you. Enough.
Fuck off.
Yeah, fuck off. I'll pull the David Chang and tell you to fuck off. No, we love Jack and his son, but it's enough championships.
Yeah. No, listen, it's been a great run for them. Kershaw somehow got his last one.
Yeah.
I'll never forget seeing him come into that 18-inning game and how nervous everybody was. And when they showed him in the bullpen, I'm sure all the Dodger fans were like, oh my God. On top of it, it was a Saturday night Halloween, which isn't unusual for the sport. Halloween obviously isn't on Saturday every year, but sometimes it is. And sometimes it overlaps with a great baseball game. But the combo, at least out here, it was like Halloween parties. The Dodgers are involved. This game's going late. This was like a water cooler moment. And I do feel like baseball is in a slightly different place in the mainstream than it was pre-COVID, right? That like something has shifted. The pitch clock, getting Ohtani and the Dodgers, having like big market teams that I think people know some of the players, the sport being enjoyable. I feel like there's more kids kind of monitoring what's going on. The video game I think helps, but it just felt like the sport we grew up with. I felt like
the pitch clock is great because you still would have been at that 18-inning game. That would have been a 40. If there was no pitch clock, greatest invention of our lifetime in sports, I think. And and you know what's sad? You say it's in a different place. It's going to be in a much different place next year when they strike. So that's going to suck. Don't just please try to get your shit together and ride the wave here, because there's nothing better than baseball when it's played at the level we saw this last week.
I'm glad you brought that up because we've seen them do this before with some of the worst timing ever for just the two sides not being able to figure something out. I mean, the salaries are definitely gigantic, and I know the RSNs have shifted and all that stuff. But if they damage whatever has been rebuilt here over the last 5 years, that would just be. I don't know if a lot of people would come back from that.
Shame on them.
I know 94. Remember, it took a couple years. It was really like some baby steps. It was like Ripken, that some of the big market teams got back involved, like the Yankees and the Red Sox got pretty good again. Pedro went to the Red Sox. The Yankees got going.
It was kind of shitty until 97, until Sosa,
the
McGuire.
Steroids,
that like kind of brought it back.
The homer guys.
Yeah, they needed that. They needed that for sure. But
yeah, I felt like the Braves, Yankees, 96, that World Series was good. The Cleveland, Florida, even though it was two weird teams, that World Series was awesome.
Right.
And then we had the Bonds and McGuire and Sosa and all that stuff heading into the 90s, Red Sox versus Yankees. Like we had and then all of a sudden it was back. And it feels like it's back now.
Yeah.
So to blow this would just be unconscionable.
Don't take it away. Don't do it. And by the way, next year's what? The Olympics? So, people will find something else to watch. They better not screw this up. They really better not.
One other guy I wanted to shout out really quickly, the catcher on the Dodgers, Will Smith.
Yeah.
Who caught all 18 innings in that game 3 and caught every inning of this series and then hits the game-winning homer in game 7. And I know Yamamoto had to be the MVP, but it almost feels like there should be an Intercontinental Champion MVP.
Right.
There should be some sort of second thing that's awarded to somebody who just had a crazy impact on it. I think to watch him get up and then crouch and get up and crouch for 7 solid hours. I was like, this guy's like, they're going to have to send him to a fucking hospital in Germany to get him ready for game 4. He never came out. It was unbelievable.
Taking short hops to the thighs and everything, chasing pitches and everything. Yeah, that was a tough gig. I felt that way too. He should have shot up the MVP rankings after that game. And just the idea that it was just a few years ago, he was banned from the Academy Award. Oh no, that was a different one. Like Jeff Ross said, it's good to see Will Smith hitting something other than Chris Rock. I don't know. There's a million jokes.
And then Ohtani, who at some point during game 3, it felt like this was going to be one of the watershed months in pro sports history for an athlete. And then by the end of it, he was just kind of barely hanging out as a supporting cast member. He got bailed out. He was out 3-0. Seemed like he had multiple chances to get those runs back and couldn't. And then his team picked him up. But it was interesting to watch his week evolve. And then my guy Mookie was the other one who they had to move him back in the batting order because he was kind of killing him. But at the same time, it's just unbelievable to me that he plays shortstop. This guy went from center to right to center to second base to shortstop. There's never been a career like this.
You have to do it if you're a Dodger.
And then he gets the double play to end the series.
Just ear to ear smiles as soon as he fielded the ball. Like, you did feel good for him. The one more thing I want to say about that 18-inning game, as great as that was, and that's the pinnacle of sports, 18 innings. And you see that guy Klein, who hadn't thrown 60 pitches through college. And oh my God, he's just mowing these guys down. Unbelievable. They're Dodgers' 10th pitcher. That, like, the biggest difference between my team and the team that's in there. They have pitcher number 10 is throwing 99 on the corner, right? Like, and the announcers are barely mentioning it. But how that could have gone from great to absurd if we saw your guy Mookie Betts pitching the 19th inning or the 20th inning. Like, that would have been ridiculous, right? Like, then you're like, shit, this sucks. Like, imagine if Ramondre Stevenson is the quarterback of the Patriots because the game went too long, so
what do you do? Do you do, like, by the 18th inning, you start a guy on second base? I don't feel like you can mess with the history of this.
I did miss the ghost runner a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, sitting there just watching everybody go just zeros for 3 solid hours was, the Blue Jays had taken
people had a good idea.
Out.
Ohtani, maybe the 4th time he was intentionally walked, he can get second base. Like, right? But at least one more base. You're not allowed to throw the first so many times. They could fudge that rule a little bit.
This episode is brought to you by Little Caesars, the official pizza sponsor of the NFL. I love pizza. At Little Caesars, the pizzas are always large, so you always get more bite for less buck on game day. I'm a simple pizza orderer for football, especially when I have friends over. You got to get a cheese. You got to get a pepperoni. And then maybe you get one wacky one with, like, I don't know, mushroom, peppers, maybe pepperoni or sausage, but I don't get too wacky. Every time this is one of my passions in life. Don't be the person that orders the crazy pizza that then everybody leaves and there's 5 slices left. Order pizza that people want to eat. Go with the basics. Go with the safe ones. Right now, you can get 15% off orders of $15 on NFL game days with code GAMEDAY. Order now at littlecaesars.com or in the Little Caesars app. Offer ends February 8th, 2026. Offer good at participating Little Caesars stores on app and online orders, excluding third-party online sites with non-online purchase $15 or more. Only available on NFL game days. Enter promo code at checkout to get 15% off your online order. Max discount $5. Limit 1 per person per day. Cannot be combined with any other offers, plus tax where applicable. Prices may vary. Delivery available from participating locations with online orders only. Copyright 2025 LCE Incorporated. What's the most nerve-wracking sport to you of all the sports? Is it baseball?
I just
for,
think
for like situation like that, or is it hockey?
No,
is it sudden death hockey, or is it like an extra innings baseball game with everything at stake?
It's got to be hockey because there's no okay, if your team's up at bat, you're not going to get scored on in baseball, right? So you have that at least. It's end-to-end rush and hockey. Like you could be on a power play and get scored on in 3 seconds, because it's back and forth and back and forth. So it has to be hockey. But the way baseball is shot and directed, and the way they'll a lot of times it's cold, the pitcher blowing on his hand, they go to the dugout, the shots of the fans. You cannot match that intensity because you have so much time in between pitches.
Baseball also has that unbelievable piece where it's like bases loaded. The guy it's like 2-0 count.
Yeah.
And the announcer does there's nowhere to put him. And you're like, hey, there really isn't. There's nowhere to put him.
Right,
and,
exactly.
In hockey, I guess the version of that is the 5-on-4 or the 5-on-3 power play in OT. I still feel like I've been in the house for great games in every sport. I've never seen a Game 7 of the World Series in person. But I still think in football, when it's like final 2 minutes and every play is just feels the most momentous, and they're coming to the line and it's like 3rd and 8, and it's like, if we get a stop here, we might actually win the Super Bowl. There's a different kind of energy with that.
Oh yeah. Neil O'Donnell was driving towards the end zone I was in the Cowboys Steelers Super Bowl. And I remember thinking, I'm going to have a stroke. I'm like, I'm 24 years old here and I'm just going to stroke out here in the upper deck, and that's going to be it. So yeah, there are situations where it does look like they're actually coming for you.
I think the single most exciting thing that can happen to a fan in sports is the come from behind home run.
Yeah.
Like Dave Henderson in the 1986 American League Championship Series, when we were down 3-1 to the Angels, down 3 runs in the 9th inning, and then he hit a homer off of Donnie Moore to tie it. I still think that's the most excited I've ever been by anything that's happened. Like just a single play, where it's basically like you get a second life, like in a video game. Like somebody just gives you a quarter and you get to keep playing. You're like, oh my God. Right. The most famous one when I was a kid was the Bernie Carbo home run in the Carlton Fisk game.
Right.
I took it from 6-3 to 6-6. But the home run in the 9th by Rojas, the classic, like you just want him to get on base. You're not thinking he's going to go deep. And then it's like, oh my God, it's out. And it's just like you black out basically.
And you know why it's great in baseball? Because unlike any sport, there's no hiccup. It's not going to get called back for a holding, right? It's not going to get, as long as it doesn't wrap around the foul pole, you don't have to worry about anything. That's a home run. He's just got to touch the bases and you're good. You have to worry about a penalty kick or offsides or anything bullshit.
What's your greatest home run? What's your favorite one for the Mets? The one that made you black out?
I think I have to say Dykstra against the Astros in that playoff series. Yeah, that was pretty awesome. But there were a few against you.
Every fan base has one of them. Yeah. Well, the Blue Jays, I feel bad for the fans, but 32 years, they were playing that up, and I can't tell if that's long or maybe we're just old, because I totally remember when they won in 92 and 93. It's like, all right, they did go back to back in the 90s. Like this isn't the Cubs.
Right. Yeah. I just think they especially want to give it to America here. that also helped in 2025. But yeah, 30 years is nothing. Try being a Cowboys fan. We're on about that. Same thing.
Well, it was almost the worst weekend in the history of Canada because the Bills almost blew the Chiefs game. I consider the Bills a Canadian team. I was thinking about R.L. Hawani, who comes on this pod a lot, who I'm friendly with. His 3 teams are the Knicks, the Bills, and the Blue Jays.
Oh, wow.
So just in 2025, we were texting about this earlier. He had the Bills loss in January. He had that fucking crazy Knicks Pacers series with that Halliburton game, which is the most improbable basketball loss, maybe ever. Right. And then you have this Blue Jays going against the Dodgers.
That's
losing
many
3
years.
Horrible stomach punch losses in a row.
That's 100 seasons of no winning. Yeah. That's no good.
Yeah. He's basically like, I might not have gone to work this week. Do you remember after the Aaron Boone game, I left Jimmy's show the next day?
Yeah.
I left at like 1:00. I honestly felt like physically ill. I was supposed to write jokes. I wanted to put my head in an oven.
We also were recording you clandestinely, and you're like, fuck you, I'm going to quit this job if you play that on TV.
I did get mad.
Yeah, you were very upset.
Must be 21 plus and present in select states for Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.